Hello guys, so this is what we left off, and let me reduce this guy back to something reasonable, and let's do a quick sim. Okay, that's cool. That's very cool actually. Alright, and what I want to do is, instead of having all this emission starts at the same level, I want to have it build up or start from one point and then progressively select all the geometry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a group node, and this is a way of grouping points, or grouping points. You can select by hand points and create a group, and you'll see the point numbers there, and or we can use primitives like sphere or boxes to define what points we want to group. Let me change the background back. Okay, so let's increase this so you can see it, and I'm going to change this to keep in bounding region. I'm going to create a sphere, set it to sphere. If we hit enter, we can see the sphere is there. I'm going to move it close, select this, hit enter in the viewport, and it will give us the controller that we need. And let's move this down a bit, something like that. I'm gonna right click, select the keyframe, go to frame 120, and increase this all the way so that it covers the entire range. Okay, I'm gonna let it through for maybe this much, and then I'm going to scale it back. Set another keyframe here, but I don't want the source to scale to this point. I want it to scale and end up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it. I'm also going to move it as it progresses. I'm going to set a keyframe in the center, go to frame 128. You see it changes green when you have a keyframe, and I'm going to move this here, and you can see I'm not changing the selection, so it doesn't matter where the sphere is. I'm going to right click, and now it's scaling in that region. Okay, play, points, and then it closes. So I'm going to create a blast node, and this is an easy way for us to separate points. The group I'm going to call emission, and I want to delete everything except the points that are in the emission group. So I set this to points, delete non-selected. If I hit play, we're going to see the points appear and disappear, and then they should come on. Nice. So let's increase this to 60,000. Okay. And they're disappearing. Cool. So I don't want to waste your time, guys, so I'm going to tell you about an issue that we're going to run into, at least a visual issue. See here at these points, they're going to become very, very distinctive. We're going to see a cut or a straight line when this is expanding. I don't want that. I want a noisy pattern expanding and growing to give the feel that this is some kind of, a magic force expanding. It's not just a linear value like that. And I'm gonna show a very simple workflow that requires very, very little overhead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and store the point position into a different attribute. I'm gonna call it current points. And this current point is simply going to equal the point position. I'm just copying the point position here. If we expand, This is the P. Current position is a copy of that. That's it. Then I'm gonna create a point VOP. I'm gonna create a noise pattern and transform these points. Transform them in a way that we can break the pattern or the silhouette. So let's turn the coloration off so it's easier to see, and let's increase this something like that. And I'm going to copy it one more time, and I'm going to lower the frequency so we get bigger patterns, something like that. I'm going to set this to 1 so it's not too extreme. And now when we group the points, it's going to still group them like that. It's going to be very, very primitive, but it's actually grouping them while they are being deformed in the state. Okay, what if we, after we group them, after we do the grouping, what if we restore their original position that we've archived here, we copied here? Okay, so I'm gonna copy this. I'm gonna restore the position by setting P to be equal to the current position, which we stored here. Current points. That's our attribute. Okay, and if we look here, we're back to square 1. Nothing changed. But if we look at the delete now, it's going to create a very interesting pattern. Let me turn back the coloration. And let's hit play. And you can see the map that it's very noisy now. It's not just yeah, you can see it here. Let me lower the point count. This guy, yeah, it's pretty high. Let's set this to 2, maybe 4, 5. So you can see it's growing, and then as it leaves, as it exits, it's gonna start soon. You see it has this nice fall off. It's not just linear. Okay, much better. Let's hit play. Nice. Very, very, very cool. So I'm gonna let this cache. Okay, and actually I'm going to add one more thing. I'm gonna copy this and do another layer. I always like to layer multiple forces, so I'm gonna set this to something quite high. I want to break the shapes. Gonna set it to 6, and I'm gonna create. I'm gonna clear the cache. And here I think it's cool. I'm gonna lower the count a bit. I think it's pretty high. Maybe 15 to start with. I don't want it to take forever. There's a ROP output. And I'm gonna name this to sim statue v1 statue.v1, something like that. And let's do 300 frames. Right click, delete this, 300 frames, and let's save this on the background. Okay, so I'm gonna let this run, and then I will do a play blast with the background set to black and just points, and then we're going to continue looking at some other cool stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.